Hi everyone! So today is Friday, the 15th of May, and we're going to continue with the one and only Ivan. Today we're going to be reading pages 82 through 107. So if you want to go ahead and turn to page 82, it should look like this. It's Stella and Ruby. All morning Stella strokes Ruby, pats her, smells her. They flop their ears, they rumble and roar, they sway as if they're dancing. Ruby clings to Stella's tail. She slips under Stella's belly, and sometimes they just lean into each other, their trunks twirled together like jungle vines. Stella looks so happy. It's more fun to watch than any nature show I've ever seen on TV. Home for the one and only Ivan. George and Mac are out by the highway. I can see them through one of my windows. They are next to each other. Oh, sorry, I got some bees over my head. They are next to each other on tall wooden ladders, leaning against the billboard that tells the cars to stop and visit the one and only Ivan, mighty Silverback. George has a bucket and a long, handy broom. Mac has pieces of paper. Sorry guys, I've got a lot of bees out here today. I apologize. He slams one against the billboard. George dips the broom into the bucket. He wets the paper and the liquid from the bucket, and somehow the paper stays in place. They put up many pieces before they are done. When they climb down from the ladders, I see that they've added a picture of a little elephant to the billboard. The elephant has a lopsided smile. She is wearing a red hat, and her tail curls like a pig. She doesn't look like Ruby. She doesn't even look like an elephant. I've only known Ruby one day, and I could have drawn her better. So we should be on page 85, Art Lessons. Ruby asks a lot of questions. She says, Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? And can you get me one of those pink clouds that the humans are eating? When Ruby asks, what is that on your wall? I explain, that's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent, the waterfall has no water, and the trees have no roots. I'm aware of that, I say. It's art, a picture made with paint. Do you know how to make art? Ruby asks. Yes, I do, I say. Puff up my chest just a little. I've always been an artist. I love drawing. Why do you love it? Ruby asks. I pause. I've never talked to anyone about this before. Well, when I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Not always. Ruby scratches the back of her neck with her trunk. What do you draw anyway? Bananas mostly. Things in my domain. My drawings sell in the gift shop for $25 a piece with a frame. What's a frame? Ruby asks. What's $1? What's a gift store? I close my eyes. I'm a little sleepy, Ruby. Have you ever driven a truck? Ruby asks. I don't answer. Ivan, Ruby asks, can Bob fly? A memory flashes past, surprising me. I think of my father snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick to wake him. Perhaps I realize he wasn't really such a sound sleeper after all. I wonder what Ivan meant by that. So we should be on page 88, Treat. How's the foot, old girl? George asks Stella. Stella pokes her trunk through the bars. She inspects George's right pocket for a treat. He brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella's his favorite. I don't mind. She's my favorite too. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrating nudge with her trunk, and Julia laughs. Stella moves to George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. She removes it. Mac walks past. Toilets plugged up. In the men's room, he says, "Big mess." "I'll take care of it," George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, Mac," George says, "you might want to take Stella's foot. You might want to take a look at Stella's foot, excuse me. I think it's infected." "Darn thing never does heal up right," Mac rubs his eyes. "I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling the vet every time she sneezes." George strokes Stella's trunk. She inspects his pocket one more time just in case. "Sorry, girl," he says as he watches. George says as he watches Mac walk away. Elephant jokes. "Ivan, Bob," I blink. The dawn light of the smudge of gray flickered, with pink, like the picture drawn with two crayons. I can just make out Ruby's in the shadow, waving hello with her trunk. "Are you awake?" Ruby asks. "We are now," says Bob. Aunt Stella's still asleep, and I don't want to wake her because she said her foot is hurting, but I'm really, Ruby pauses for a breath, really bored. Bob opens one eye. "You know what I do when I'm bored?" "What?" Ruby says eagerly. Bob closes one eye. "I sleep." It's a little early, Ruby," I say. "I'm used to getting up early." Ruby wraps her trunk around one of the bars of the door. "At my old circus, we always got up when it's still dark, and we had breakfast and walk in circles, and then they chained my feet up, and it really hurt." Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. "Ivan," Ruby asks, "do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about elephants." "Well, let me see. I heard Mac tell one once." I yawned. "Oh. How can you tell that an elephant has been in the refrigerator?" "How?" "By the footprints in the butter." Ruby doesn't react. I sit up on my elbows, trying not to disturb Bob. "Get it?" "What's a refrigerator?" Ruby asks. "It's a human thing. A cold box with a door. They put food inside." "They put food in the door? Or food in the box? And is it a big box?" Ruby asks. "Or a little box?" I can see this is going to take a while, so I sit up all the way. Bob slides off grumbling. I reach for my pencil, and the one I had snapped in half with my teeth. "Here," he says. I say, "I'll draw you a picture of one." In the dim light, it takes a minute to find a piece of paper Julia gave me. The page is a little damp and has a smear of something orange on it. I think it's from a tangerine. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil is not cooperating, but I do what I can. By the time I'm done, the first streak of the morning sun have appeared in the flashing cartoon colors. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies it intently, her head turned so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. "Wow, you made that? Is this the thing you were telling me about before? Art?" "Sure is. I can draw all kinds of things. I'm especially good at fruit." "Can you draw a banana right now?" Ruby asks. "Absolutely." I turn the paper over and sketch. "Wow," Ruby says again in awe voice, and when I hold up the paper, "That looks good enough to eat." She makes a happy, lighted sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird I recall from long ago, a tiny yellow bird with a voice like dancing water. Strange. I'd forgotten all about that bird, how she'd wake up every morning at dawn, when I was still curled up safely in my mother's nest. It's a good feeling, making Ruby laugh. So I draw another picture and another. Look along the edges of the paper. An orange, a candy bar, a carrot. What are you two up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I ask. Just feeling my age, Stella says. I'm fine. Ivan is making me pictures, Ruby says, and he told me a joke. I really like Ivan, Aunt Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too, she says. Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asks. I heard it from Maggie. She was one of the giraffes at the old circus, Sure, I say. It goes like this, Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think, but I don't answer because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby, I reply. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. Oh, that's a good one, Ruby, I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. All right, so at this point, we should be on page 97, and it's children. Ooh, the bees have come to visit today. Once I asked Stella if she'd ever had any babies. She shook her head. I never had the opportunity. You would have made a great mother, I told her. Thank you, Ivan, she says, clearly pleased. I'd like to think so. Having little ones is a big responsibility. You have to teach them how to take mud baths, of course, and emphasize the importance of fiber in their diets. She looked away, contemplating. Elephants are excellent at contemplating. I think the hard part of being a parent, Stella says after a while, would be keeping your babies safe from harm, protecting them. The way the silverbacks do in the jungle, I say. Exactly, Stella nodded. You would have been good at protecting too, I said confidently. I'm not so sure, Stella said, gazing at the iron bars surrounding her. I'm not sure at all. Page 99, the parking lot. Mac and George are chatting while George cleans one of the windows. George, Mac says, frowning. There's something wrong with the parking lot. George sighs. Well, I'll take a look as soon as I'm done with this window. What's the problem? There are cars in it. That's what's wrong. Cars, George! Mac breaks into a smile. I think things are actually starting to pick up a bit. It's got to be that new billboard. People see the baby elephant and they just have to stop and spend their hard-earned cash. I hope so, George says. We sure could use the business. Mac's right. I have noticed more visitors coming since. He and George added the picture of Ruby to the sign. People crowd around Ruby and Stella's domains, oohing and eyeing at the sight of such a tiny elephant. I gaze out at the single sign that makes humans stop and spend their hard-earned cash. I have to admit that the picture of Ruby is rather cute, even if she doesn't look like a real elephant. I wonder if Mac could add a little red hat and a curly tail to my picture of me. Maybe then more visitors would stop by my domain. I could use a few oohs and ahs myself. Page 101, Ruby's story. Ivan, tell me another joke, please, Ruby begs after the 2 o'clock show. I think I may have run out of jokes, I admit. A story then, Ruby says. Aunt Stella's sleeping and there's nothing to do. I tap my chin. I'm trying hard to think, but when I gaze at the food court skylight, I'm mesmerized by the elephant-colored clouds galloping past. Ruby taps her foot impatiently. I know. I'll tell you a story, she says. A real, live, true one. Oh, good idea, I say. What is it about? It's about me. Ruby lowers her voice. It's about me. And how I fell into a hole. A big hole. Humans dug. Bob pricks his ears and joins me by the window. I always enjoy a good digging story, he says. It was a big hole full of water near the village, Ruby says. I don't know why humans made it. Sometimes we just need to dig for the sake of digging, Bob reflects. We were looking for food, she says, my family and I, but I wandered off. I got lost, and I went too close to the village. Ruby looks at my eyes wide. I was so scared when I fell into the hole. Of course you were, I say. I would have been scared too. Me too, Bob admits. And I like holes. The hole was huge. Ruby pokes her trunk between the bars, making a circle in the air. But guess what? She didn't wait for an answer. The water was all the way up to my neck, and I was sure I was going to die. I shuddered. What happened then? I asked. I'll tell you what happened, Bob says darkly. They captured her. They put her in a box. They shipped her off, and here she is, just like they did to Stella. He pauses and scratches his ear. Humans. Rats having bigger hearts, roaches having kinder souls, flies have... No, Bob, Ruby interrupts, you're wrong. These humans helped me. They saw I was trapped. They grabbed ropes, they made loops around my neck and tummy. The entire village helped. Even little children, grandmas and grandpas, they all pulled and... Ruby stops. Her lashes are wet. I know she must be remembering all the terrible feelings from that day. And they saved me, she finished in a whisper. Bob blinks. They saved you? He repeats. When I was finally out, everyone cheered, Ruby says. And the children fed me fruit, and then all the humans led me back to my family. It took the whole day to find them. No way, Bob's still doubtful. It's true, Ruby says, every word. Of course it's true, I say. I've heard rescue stories like that before. It's Stella's voice. She sounds weary. Slowly, she makes her way over to Ruby. Humans can surprise you sometimes. An unpredictable species, the Homo sapiens. Bob still looks unconvinced. But Ruby's here now, he points out. If humans are so swell, who did that to her? I sent Bob a grumpy look. Sometimes he doesn't know when to keep quiet. Ruby swallows, and I'm afraid she's going to cry. But when she speaks, her voice is strong. Bad humans killed my family, and bad humans sent me here. But that day, in the hole, it was humans who saved me. Ruby leans her head on Stella's shoulder. Those humans were good. It doesn't make any sense, Bob says. I just don't understand them. I never will. You're not alone, I say, and I turn my gaze back to the racing gray clouds. All right, everyone, so at this point we should be on page 106, a hit. I'm on the last 2 pages. Give Mommy a second, okay? That means stop and let Mommy finish the last 2 pages for my class, okay? Give me 1 second, Gavin. We should be on page 106, a hit. Stella's foot hurts too much for her to do any tricks at the 2 o'clock show. Instead, Mac pulls her, limping into the ring, where she tracks a circle in the sawdust. Ruby clings to her like a shadow. Ruby's eyes go wide when Snickers jumps on Stella's back, then leaps onto her head. At the 4 o'clock show, Stella can only get as far as the entrance of the ring, and Ruby refuses to leave her side. At the 7 o'clock show, Stella stays in her domain. When Mac comes for Ruby, Stella whispers something into her ear. Ruby looks at her pleadingly, but after a moment, she follows Mac into the ring. Ruby stands alone. The bright lights make her blink. She flaps her ears. She makes a tiny trumpet noise. The humans stop eating popcorn. They coo, they clap. Ruby is a hit. I don't know whether to be happy or sad. All right, friends. So sorry for a few interruptions today, but that is going to take us till Friday. So on Monday, we will come back together and start on page 108, okay? Now go do your assignment on Google Classroom or in your packet. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.